Welcome to the Prof C Office Hour. Here are some updates to make note of. Join us for the annual Best of 48-Hour Film Project screening at Harkins Theater in Redlands on Wednesday, November 5th from 7 to 9 p.m. this Wednesday. Several of your fellow students and department alumni are nominated for awards, so come out, see who takes home the honors, and support your fellow students. Next week on Wednesday, November 12th, we're hosting a department registration day for spring classes starting at 4 p.m. A counselor will be available during this time to help you with your schedule and answer questions about general education classes. Local employers will be on site looking for potential spring interns. You can enroll in FTVM 198 to earn course credit for an internship, and you may qualify for a stipend, that's cash, at the end of next semester for completing that internship. Plus, we'll have light refreshments. All right, now the tip of the week. Right now, my acting and directing students are deep into their projects, and I'm noticing a common misstep, skipping the wide or establishing shot. Here's why that's important. Coverage. A wide shot captures the entire scene. If something goes wrong with your close-ups, like a missed line, camera glitch, or missing action, you still have the complete version of the scene. Rehearsal. It gives your actors a chance in a low-pressure environment to run through all of the lines, and for you as the director to notice blocking. Your medium and close-up shots should enhance the wide shot, not replace it. So when filming, make sure you capture as much of the scene as possible or through the establishing shot or the wide shot with the dialogue. Other things I'd like to say about that and doing your coverage, you will have nothing to cut to if you don't get that wide shot or that establishing shot. And I want to emphasize this. The point is to get as much as the dialogue and action as possible. Because if your medium shot doesn't work, your close-up doesn't work, you still have the scene done. Which at the end of the day, the producers, all they want is the scene. You can have time to go back and get pickups as needed. But don't try to edit. This is what I'm seeing students do when they direct for the first time. They're trying to only run as much as the scene as they think they'll need to work in the edit. Don't do that. Give yourself... The other thing, shooting the entire scene in a wide shot or in a medium shot or in the close-ups. The other thing that does is it's going to give you choices in the editing room. If you cut before you have to and you go to the editing room, you might miss something that could have really added to the story. Or you might miss something you need. There's been times where I haven't gone all the way through myself on that establishing shot, and I'm editing and I'm pulling my other footage and I'm like, darn it, I missed probably a move or some action that would have added to this scene because I didn't get it. And then I got to go back and do a pickup shot. So don't work around the wide shot. Run through it is so nice for your actors as well, because then they can just go through the dialogue and the movements without worrying about it too much. You want to wait to do the close-up until the end of that scene and how you're shooting it. So yeah, that is just something I'm seeing. Don't cut yourself off. It's going to make your post-production that much harder. All right, now for 5 questions with Gabriel, one of my FTVM 234 students. 234 is film and video production too, but most of the students in there do short films. But you can do anything in there. It's the passion project class, as I like to call it. So, what do you got for me today? I'm nervous. I'm really anxious.
So we're gonna start off right off the bat. We're gonna do who's your biggest creative influence right now?
Right now, is it like new or can it just be a long-standing one?
Yeah, just long-standing.
Probably is always for at least 20 years has been Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh, okay.
I will go with that. Like I love him, and like when I was in film school, I hated him because he was so good, and that was the type of stuff I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, as I've gotten older, I'm like I just love him.
Mm-hmm.
I loved and hated him at the same time. So probably P.T. Anderson. I need to look this up because I can never say the director's name. Where is it? Come on. Yorgos. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name. But yeah, I love his work.
Yeah.
It's just his use of, I think it was in The Favorite, his use of low angle wide lens was great. Like I was like, wow, he's doing some offbeat stuff, and just kind of I created a term once called Kubrickian, and it had this Kubrickian vibe to it, where his stuff is very layered and I love the work he's been doing with Emma Stone. So yeah, so Yorgos, and always probably Paul Thomas Anderson.
He came out with that one movie just with Leo DiCaprio just recently.
One Battle After Another. Yeah, great. Go see
it.
Go see it.
I gotta see it.
You have to see it. It's a moral imperative.
Yeah.
If you want an A in my class, you have to go see it.
I have to go see it. I need to. So going into that from that one, talking about filmmakers and creative influences, what would be a filmmaker that you think deserves more credit working today?
Deserves more credit. I think there's filmmakers that are, because time has been going a certain way and people aren't as in tune to the history of cinema. I think there's filmmakers that are starting to fall through the cracks now.
Yeah.
One of those is Billy Wilder. He directed Some Like It Hot. He directed The Apartment. He directed Double Indemnity. Just fantastic, wonderful. So I think people need to look folks up like Billy Wilder and go back and watch Sunset Boulevard. Need to watch his stuff. More credit, man. You know, I don't think Richard Donner gets the love that he should get.
Yeah, that's true.
He created basically the superhero film.
Mm-hmm.
Like that first Superman movie is everything every superhero. The good ones are judged by that.
Yeah.
As a barometer. So I think because then he went on to do Lethal Weapon movies, which were great. Then he did Scrooged with Bill Murray. So he's got like I always appreciate the directors that have that wide. They're not just doing one genre, right? Man, who else? Is there anyone recent that I'm like, man, they never get the love? I've been happy to see folks like Sean Baker getting love. I think that's been great recently to see the more independent films, kind of those types of filmmakers kind of getting some air, especially in this era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's becoming more independent is becoming more mainstream, it seems.
Well,
in a way.
I'm just glad that, maybe some studios will realize it's okay to have a $20 million movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
You can make money off of that too. What did I see? There was something that was like $10 million and they made 90 and they're like super happy with it. This is some years ago. I'll remember it later. Joey, you can edit that part out that I can't remember. No.
Yeah. So going from that, this one might be a little tough because I know what you're going to want to do is go straight to top 5. But the question is 5 movies that you can't live without or you share a personal connection with. The way I would put it is if it was just you and you only had to pick 5 movies that you had to take with you.
I call these comfort food movies.
Yeah. Like it can't be.
No, I got you.
Cool.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So Back to the Future's on there right away.
Okay.
It's one that's like, probably a lot of these are going to be from the 80s because these are the films I grew up on. There's Ferris Bueller's.
Yeah.
We were talking about just before we recorded Empire Strikes Back. If I do that, then I gotta go Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I'm left with one more. Goonies.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty
80s.
It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and it's just like, if that's all I had left to watch, I could watch.
Might as well just watch them.
Yeah, might as well just enjoy those, right? Yeah. I got some comedy, I got some action in there.
Now, does that differ from your top 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
The top 5 was it top 5? Like, there's a rotation. There's one or two that are always in there. Then it's like, I'm gonna drop this one in there. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a solid list.
The one that's always in there is Dr. Strangelove. And then,
okay.
Then we kind of see what other my moods are. So.
Depends on the mood.
Yeah, right.
Cool. Okay, well then from there we're going to go to, what movie do you recommend to everyone?
I immediately want to say Godfather, but then I keep thinking about that scene in Barbie where all the guys are mansplaining Godfather. And so I don't want to do that because I had to deal with my wife looking at me the whole time that was on. I was like, I don't think it was mansplaining it to you. But it probably was.
Yeah, I also had an awkward moment in the theater watching Barbie too.
Right. Did I recommend to anybody one movie? One?
It's like the first thing you go to when you talk to somebody, like, you have to watch this.
I would probably go Strangelove, which is why it's always in my top 5.
Okay.
Because I think the thing about Kubrick, and I'm not saying anything that no one hasn't said before, is every time you go and see a Kubrick movie, there's something else you didn't see before. There's just a layer in there that you don't notice. Mm-hmm. Whether it's in that case, it's a joke, it's a line, it's how timeless it unfortunately remains. Because now we have a president talking about testing nuclear weapons. I'm like, okay. I guess that's one way to go. So there's a timelessness to it. There's just, there's performance in it in terms of comedy that is so good. And to see... to see the actors in that and what he's getting out of them, George C. Scott, and certainly, I have to look up his name. Edit this out because I'm having a major old person moment right now, and I'm gonna
We got him, guys. We got him.
You didn't get me. It's just like for some reason I am blanking on the main actor in Strangelove, and I can see his name, I can see his face. He played Strangelove. He played he plays Group Captain Mandrake. He plays the president, and Peter Sellers. So Peter Sellers plays 3 roles in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kind of one of the first times that someone's playing multiple roles in it. So that's definitely one I'd recommend. I mean, definitely that one. And then as we were talking, I was thinking about Network is one I would throw in there. And Rocky. So I guess it's not one movie. It's 3.
Okay. Those are the 3 that you would tell
Those
somebody.
are the 3 at any given moment. I could give you just one.
Also depending on the mood.
Right. Also depending on the mood. Exactly. So I cheated the question.
So from that point, we're going to go to the last question. It's going to be which decade had the best cinema, which I think we already know. What you think the best of the decade was.
So it'd have to be, am I going to be objective or am I going to be subjective on the answer?
We'll do both.
My subjective answer is the 90s because that's when I came of age. Right?
Okay.
And that's when I, in high school, that's when I watched stuff. That's when I really was like, wow, I really like this movie thing.
Mm-hmm. Were there any that like stuck out to you in the 90s?
Oh, what didn't? I mean, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. We talked about Paul Thomas Anderson, so you've got his breakout, which is Boogie Nights, Fight Club, Forrest Gump, Shawshank. I mean, I can just keep going. 1999 is an amazing year. You have American Beauty, Fight Club, Matrix, Office Space, and there's one more from that they all kind of have this subtext of we hate white collar existence and working in a cubicle. And so they're all movies about breaking out of that. So there's Coen Brothers. So you got Big Lebowski, but then before that you've got the cop one. Fargo. There's just so much. Is Rain Man 90 or is that 89?
Yeah, it's in the 80s.
Yeah.
Last I checked, I thought that was.
Yeah. So just, and that really gets kicked off with, and that's really when Sundance became something.
Oh, okay.
Clerks. You got Clerks. Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting Clerks.
Yeah.
Mallrats. So much stuff that came out, and it was really a cool time because 80s had just gotten to a point where it was just too much. And kind of what we're seeing now, where it's just like all the studios wanted to do was make money and had IP. Whatever the IP was, we'll just keep making this over and over again. Going through that now.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, I feel like it's kind of like coming to a close because it's...
I think it is.
It's almost like the 80s again. And it's like going to go into the 90s again.
Yeah. It just depends on like what... Hey, one of you all figure something out and make something super cool, and then that becomes and I know Joey loves when I use this word, it becomes the zeitgeist that everyone's chasing. So subjectively the 90s, probably the 60s is late 60s, early 70s is probably kind of that best era. However, there's things out of the 50s that I think are really great. I mean, when you start getting into really that's where the early 70s, that's when you start, the 90s mirrors it back.
Yeah, because I think the 50s and 60s had like the westerns and the...
Yeah, but there's still elements, like the thing that sticks out to me about the late 40s and the early 50s is the film noir era, which is one of my favorite genres. But the thing that sticks out to me about the 50s is really when acting starts to take on starts to evolve. So you have the method getting put in place in films now. So that is significant as a carry through into the 60s. We do start getting more into more realism in terms of filmmaking. And then, the 70s, you just have, I mentioned Network, you've got The Godfather 1 and 2, Last Tango in Paris. I'm thinking about Brando movies. That was the crazy thing. Brando did these 3 movies in the 70s, Godfather, Last Tango, and played Superman's dad, all in the same damn decade. Amazing. You got Jaws in there, 75. You got Star Wars, certainly. Then you've got Scorsese's stuff that he was doing with Mean Streets, and then...
it was almost like, it kind of felt almost art house experimental in the 70s.
Well, the studios were dead.
Yeah.
And so they had no money, and it was corporations that took them over.
Which is weird to like put Star Wars into that, but it was an experiment when
they were looking for something,
yeah.
And you had a person. Then the problem with the studios now is they have all these business people working in it, and the one good thing about the 70s studio era is that there was still the kids of the moguls, some of them were taking over.
Mm-hmm.
So the corporations were smart to hire. It's like, well, let's hire Zanuck's kid. Let's hire, these folks that know they grew up in it.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that now. There's no, if you're going to have Paramount, it's going to buy Warner Brothers. It's over.
Yeah.
Now
it's Netflix.
And I think that's it too. I was at the Academy Museum a couple weeks ago, and there's this really cool exhibit on the early Moguls.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, folks that started the studios, right? So these weren't anybody more special than you.
Mm-hmm.
They just had an idea, and they had an obsession with wanting to do it. And then finding a way to kind of mass produce these things. But they understood how to tell story. And I think that is where the studios now have kind of gone off. I think it's where James Gunn hit some lightning in a bottle with the Superman stuff, and maybe he gets a lot. Now they don't even know what's going to happen with the potential Paramount buying Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Is DC Films going to exist? Don't know. And he just had this success. If they let storytellers make those decisions, great. But I don't know if that's or if they're just gonna, we're just gonna mass produce IP because we think that's the only thing that can make money. And Coppola had a great line: "Is like, if you do good art, the money will come."
Yep.
And so they're in this. We just want to make money. And so maybe what I see is, unfortunately, could be a thing, but I think great. The old studios just die.
Yeah.
And they're just libraries of what was great. But then you all just decide, we're going to start a new studio. And this is what this studio is going to be. And maybe a bunch of new studios just pop up all over the country. And you got a studio here in the IE. You got a studio, people go back to LA, of course. And they just you're just making your stuff. And you're finding ways to sell that and get that out there.
Yep.
Just the way they did. I think that's the interesting thing about this moment is everyone thinks they need to be bigger, but then they're losing out. The scary thing, and now more than ever, it's just now it's really hitting me how scary this line was. I heard Bob Iger, Disney's CEO, in an interview, and he's like, the problem is Disney needs to get bigger. Bigger than what? In comparison, we needed to buy more. That's why he bought Fox. That's why it's like, you need to be bigger. Why don't you just focus on doing what you do? That was the thing about that was the other thing. It's very much like sports to me. Mm-hmm. The Moguls then were like, I don't care about being bigger. I just want to do better than this guy over here. It's almost like now, LeBron forms a super team. They just want to form super studios. I'm like, how about you just be better than try to do more, So
it also, I think I always say it always fell apart once the businessmen came into the creative realm and started putting their 2 cents in, and it's like,
that's what happened with the initial studio system in the early 50s when TV came in. It was this major thing it was a major disruptor. Right, and so streaming has been a major disruptor, but there's always been major disruptors. Sound was a major disruptor. They thought that was going to ruin cinema.
Yep.
So somebody somewhere, or a pocket of people somewhere will do something, and then that'll be the next thing. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
And so we're in this bubble. It blew up and now it burst, and so now everyone's scattering to see where things are going to go.
Yep, and that's why I feel like it's at that point. It's at that tipping point right
now.
I
think it's tipped.
Yeah, things are starting to fail. Those ideas are starting to fail. Those big ideas of trying to get these franchises going and just throwing whatever they can at it.
Yeah,
those are starting to dwindle.
The problem is, one of the problems is people aren't. And their studios aren't giving films enough time in the theater. Just let these things sit there for a few. a little bit longer. It'll find an audience.
Yeah. Well, I think that's how they created the system.
Yeah.
Is that this whole streaming thing allowed them to control the audience basically.
Yeah.
And how they want them to see it and how they want them to do
That's a good
things.
point.
And I think that's why it's starting to affect the actual creativity of it all.
Yeah.
And people complain, but then, well, I don't want to go spend money and go out. I could just watch it here. I can wait a month and watch it at home.
Yeah. I know. I don't know. Movie theater popcorn's so much better.
It really is.
I can't duplicate it at home. Was that it? Did we hit the 5 questions?
The 5.
Wow. We went on tangents again. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, of course.
We'll see you around the campfire.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Toodles.